What's up, gentlemen? Your favorite Commissioner Justin coming at you here live on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, ready for a weekly recap. We are on through week 4 of the League 10, and yeah, I want to keep this video a little short because I just want to go through that kicker thing that we texted about a little bit the other day, just to make sure everyone's on the same page and bring up some other things as well. So, anyways, let's dive right into it. First matchup we have this week is a matchup of the guys who are not in, or a matchup of half the guys who are not in playoffs, which are which was Nick and Corey. Nick snuck out the win here by about 11 points, 118 to 107. Let's take a look at the matchup real quick. Nick had 24 points out of Aaron Rodgers. He had 21 points out of his kicker, which again is because of the thing that we talked about the other night. Yeah, that was about all he really had on his team. He had several guys underperform. You know, Devontae Adams only got 12 points. Mike Evans only got 14 points. Well, I guess that's about what he was supposed to do. But anyways, yeah, he had Jalen Hurts on his bench. Obviously, you should start Jalen Hurts over Aaron Rodgers. And Deontay Johnson on his bench, who had a nice day, 24 points for him. Anyways, but he still got the win. So, Nick, congratulations on your first win. You are now out of the winless column that some of us still find ourselves in. And Corey got his third loss. So both teams are 1-3. Corey is 7th, and Nick is in 8th. Corey's matchup, he had Terry McLaurin get 30 points. He had Saquon Barkley get 30 points. And then he had his tight end score 0 points. He had his kicker score 1 point. He had his defense score 2 points. So, you know, if only 2 of your guys are going to show up, you probably won't win most weeks. Had James Conner on his bench, who did not do anything. And he's got a guy on IR on his bench. Corey, helpful tip. You've got a guy on IR. I mean, you should know this from last year. Move him over to IR. Hell, you had guys that weren't on IR in your IR spots last year. So I would move those guys over. Anyways, next matchup we go from a matchup that contained 2 guys that were, you know, basically more or less out of it. And they are out of it so far through 4 weeks. To 2 guys that are kind of leading the league, which are Mitch, and Nate. Mitch gets 139 points to Nate's 122 with a nice victory for Mitch. Mitch still undefeated. Now remember, guys, last year Mitch didn't get his first win until I want to say it was whatever week he faced Don. So at least week 10, or for sure week 10, I think. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, congratulations to Mitch starting out hot, even though he has something called Christian McCaffrey on his bench. Let's look at the matchups. Nate had 23 points out of Kyler Murray, 26 points out of Derrick Henry, 21 points out of hold on, sorry. Pause, please. James Robinson. Sorry, I honestly couldn't think of his name there for a second. James Robinson. Yeah, that's about it. Everybody on his bench, meh, whatever. But yeah, I mean, he maybe could have thrown in Leonard Fournette in his flex to get a better, or Chase Edmonds, but he wouldn't have won. Mitch, on the other hand, had Tom Brady, who only got 11 points, but he had DJ Moore with 32, Tyler Boyd with 21, and only his kicker and defense scored single-digit points, which is really good. He also had Joe Burrow on his bench. Obviously, Mitch, you should know to start Joe Burrow over Tom Brady when he's going back to New England. But anyways, congratulations to Mitch, still undefeated in the first place. Nate, 3-1 with his first loss of the year in third place. Next matchup goes to Brandon and Mike. And Brandon had I would consider a fairly respectable week, 131 points. There's nothing wrong with 131 points. But the trend continues. When you face the team who scores the fewest points during the week, you pretty much are guaranteed a victory. And that's exactly what happened again this week. He faced Mike. Mike got 99 points. Mike did not win. So, Mike, 99 points. He had 27 points out of Dak Prescott and 15 points out of his kicker, which, again, just is the whole thing that we'll be talking about here in a second, or we have talked about. He had Trey Lance on his bench, but that's, Dak Prescott was the way to go. Brandon, on the other hand, he had 23 points out of Russell Wilson. He had 20 points out of his kicker. He had 25 points out of Buffalo. When your defense blanks another team, that's pretty good. 4 picks, 3 sacks as well. Makes for a very nice day. Brandon had his Buffalo was his highest point getter on his team this week. Didn't really have anybody on his bench worth mentioning. A bunch of guys that scored 0 points. So maybe maybe Brandon is only has starters and that's it. I don't think his bench goes very deep, which kind of surprises me considering he makes 5,000 transactions every year. But hey, just makes it easier for us to buy those specialty pizzas that Corey loves so much. So yeah, Brandon 3-1 in 5th place, Mike 2-2 and in I think 6th place. Sorry, I clicked out of it already. Next matchup we have Matt versus Ben, and Ben, hey, you didn't get the weekly low score, so congratulations to you on that. But 109 points, most weeks does not win it, including this week. You are still winless at 0-4. You're in 10th place, which means you're the worst winless team in the league. Matt, on the other hand, 3-1 with 134 points, getting the victory this week. Into the matchup we go. Ben had Justin Herbert, 21 points. Sorry, Zeke had 20 points. Jonathan Taylor had 20 points. Carolina defense -4 points. There's a lot of guys that had players that get 0 points. That's better than -4. If my Bemidji math serves me well. Let's see. Nobody on his bench worth mentioning. Yeah. Moving over to Matt's team. I mean, guys, I hate to say it, but Matt has got a pretty legitimate team here. He's got Patrick Mahomes, 33 points, five touchdowns, almost 300 yards. I mean, really good. He had Justin Jefferson with 20 points. He had Austin Eckler, who had, I think, two touchdowns, catch and a rushing touchdown, 117 yards last night. Really good. Kelsey, which is weird because Kelsey only got him 6 points, but Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, maybe Patty Mahomes is not liking Kelsey anymore. I don't know. What do I know? I'm in second to last place. He had Corey Davis on his bench. He had several players on his bench that scored well, but hey, you only need to start enough players that get you the win. You don't need to start every single player that scores you a ton of points, which is exactly what my opponent this week in the matchup of the week did. Perk started every player that he had that was going to score a lot of points, and he won. And I hate to admit it, Perk, but that was a really good strategy. Start all the players that are going to do really well. You had on your bench 21 points on your bench. You had several players on that started that outscored your bench. So kind of like Brandon, maybe not the deepest team, but hey, not bad. 173 points, I think good for the third highest score put up this year. He goes 3-1 and is in 4th place. I put up 136 points and am winless and in 9th place. And last week, if you all will recollect, I lost to Matt by scoring the second most points in the league last week. And this week, I scored the third most points in the league this week and still lost. So, yeah, that points against thing for me is probably pretty high. I haven't looked. Oh, Mia's saying hi to me. She's gonna go suck on Claire's boob here in a second. Actually, I should probably hurry up and get in there and watch that. Going through the matchup really quick. Josh Allen, 21 points for me. Tyreek Hill, 48 points for me this week, and I still lost. Bad. 21 points for Najee Harris for me. So, yeah, like I said, I honestly had a pretty good week, but Perk had a better one. 20 points for Matt Stafford. All of his players scored double digits. His lowest point getter was Aaron Jones at 11 points. David Montgomery, 23 points. Deebo Samuel, 36 points. Tyler Bass, his kicker, 24 points. So, anyways. So that's the matchups for the week. Let's take a look at the other thing I want to introduce here really quick, which is we always also keep track of the magic numbers. And I realized I said I was going to try to keep this video short, and I realized I've already gone over what I do, so I'll go through this quick. Magic numbers are the amount of wins you need and losses by the team in 7th place, because they're the first team out. So every week that'll change, because right now Corey's in 7th place right now, but next week Mike or Nick, who are in 6th and 8th, could be there, and their bosses could be different, or could stay the same. So it's always your wins versus 7th place team's losses. Mitch has a magic number of 7. Matt, Nate, Perk, and Brandon have a magic number of 8. Mike has a magic number of 9. Corey and Nick have a magic number of 10. Ben and me have a magic number of 11. So, not good for us at the bottom there. And super quick, even though I know we went over this, I'll just bring it up one more time. A couple of us looked at it at the draft, and we were trying to figure out a way to do field goals where if they were 30 yards or less, they just were automatically 3 points, and if they were 31 yards or longer, then it was 0.1 points per yard. And we looked at it, we thought we got it set up, and obviously we didn't. That's why our kickers were having so many points, and I'm guessing it was like that for the last 4 weeks, and we just never caught it or whatever. Honest mistake, just thought we could maybe combine the two scoring systems. Obviously we can't. So basically, for the last 4 weeks, if you had a kicker who's kicked a 25-yard field goal, you got 3 points, and then an additional, because that was what it was, 3 points, and then you got an additional 2.5 for the, if it was 25 yards, 2.5 points. So if you kicked a lot of short field goals, you did well, just like Tyler Bass did for Perk. So we did a quick poll last night, as you all know. We're just doing 0.1 points per yard. So if you get a 30-yarder, you get 3 points. If you get a 45-yarder, 4.5, 66-yarder, 6.6, etc., etc., etc. So anyways, okay, we're at the 11-minute mark, and I'm sure all of you have probably turned this off by now. So I'm going to let you guys go. Good luck this week, whoever you're playing, and we'll see you next Tuesday.